All right, now with that, let's get to our conversation of the day where we are talking about AI in our daily operations. And we are speaking to Aisha Walcott, who is the research scientist and co-lead for Google Research in Africa. Thank you so much for joining us on Business today.
Thank you as well. I'm glad to be here.
All right, so first of all, how is the weather? How did you get here? Did you get any problems, especially when it comes to floods? And then now we get into the conversation.
Yeah, actually, I'm grateful right now for a little bit of sunshine because the floods have been quite intense and treacherous for all of us in Kenya, especially Nairobi. For me personally, driving my son to school, we are having to pass through bridges that are covered with water coming from both rivers and the roadways. So it has been a difficult week for many of us. So just grateful for this moment of sunshine.
All right. Thank you so much for that. And we'll get to also that because now that is connecting to the weather.
Yes.
Let's first of all start with Google Research Africa and what it's all about. Just give us a little bit of brief of what Google Research Africa deals with.
Yes, Google Research Africa is a part of Google's wider mandate on fundamental computer science research. We look at problems and unique opportunities that are relevant to the continent and where AI can actually play a pivotal and impactful role in people's lives and in society in general. We started Google Research Africa in Accra, Ghana in 2018, and we've now expanded to Nairobi, Kenya in 2022. And for me, that is a testament to the desire, the need for all people on the continent to want to be a part of AI, to be a part of this new technology, and also for Google to recognize that.
All right. And now, even as we speak about bringing in AI into digital transformations and different aspects of the digital world, when we look at from the inception of when AI came in, how has it been in terms of improvements, in terms of the new things and innovations that have come with AI? Because now everyone looks at AI and I remember last week we were also doing the same thing on the show when we were speaking about how AI is coming in into shape different sectors and industries. So therefore, how is AI coming in now, merging with Google in order to make sure that at least different things are done maybe easily?
Yeah, so really great question. And of course, AI has been here for several decades, starting even, in the previous century, and been evolving over time, just like any other sciences. I think what you're seeing now in terms of a technology revolution with AI is there are algorithmic breakthroughs that are happening, compute breakthroughs, both in hardware and software that are happening, and the culmination of all of those are what are leading to these tools, like some of the generative AI tools that you see and hear out there in terms of Gemini AI for Google. Others have heard of ChatGPT and other types of these tools. And I think with that, plus how connected we are, you're hearing more and more people talk and share about how they're using AI tools. And therefore, since everyone has different, works in different capacities, whether it's in healthcare, agriculture, even in TV and news, they see how AI can be relevant to their lives. And so I think that's what's making it so exciting of a time right now.
All right. So let's look at AI in maps, because everyone, almost 90% of people use Google Maps these days. And at the end of the day, the map is structured in a way that it can detect to a certain place. And I remember last weekend, I was with my friends, we were going somewhere, and we were trying to look at, okay, this place has been, you can see it on the map. So what is used to make sure that they detect, for example, where does this person stay? There's a school here, there's a road that passes through this side. So what goes into all this technology?
Yeah, so Maps has been evolving for quite some time. So it's not necessarily just in Google Research Africa.
Yes.
But what's nice is that Google Research Africa has a contribution to maps, especially around buildings. We have our open buildings data set, which initially started when we saw a gap in maps when it came to Africa. We would start to look at different parts of maps and not see the buildings that you would normally see when you pass by there. And so we want to be represented. We want to be able to support stakeholders like government, private sector, public sector in terms of decision making, whether it's disaster response, humanitarian aid, and urban planning. So what we've done is we've been building, using AI for with satellite imagery to be able to detect Africa's built environment.
Okay.
So when we first started with this technology, we focused only on Africa, and we were able to detect up to 500 million buildings. Since then, we've had a few more releases, and all of this, by the way, is open and available online, where now we are broadening those capabilities to reach a lot of the global south. And now we're at 1.8 billion building detections that are being contributed and detected, and you will see also when you pull up Google Maps.
Yes. Okay. Thank you so much for that. And let's also look at examples of successful, now with maps, examples of successful projects and applications that have been developed, because as you've spoken, you were saying it has really evolved. So when we look at maps right now and how it used to be, how has this improved the way maps is working right now?
Yes, I think, every day as there's more sophisticated methods that are out there, the fact now that we can process, and many institutions can process satellite imagery, that helps with what the core of maps is that geospatial scale resolution to be able to provide these services. So at the same time, when you think about geospatial scale, you think about, what other types of data, what other types of insights you can put on top of that, whether it's weather patterns, climatic patterns, how do we support stakeholders downstream in different locations. So at the core, where location technology being the core of this technology, we're just having much more access to newer tools that enable us to make more sophisticated update to that specific product.
All right, thank you for that. And now let's look at a different aspect. You've spoken about the weather. So these days, of course, everyone goes to their phone. They want to check, how is the weather this week? What's going to happen maybe tomorrow? I need to go somewhere, so I need to get and find out how is it going to be. So when you look at how AI is adding into weather and how to detect weather, has it really improved? Because sometimes maybe you might look at the map and then, not the map, you might look at the weather and how it's going to be, and then it doesn't happen like that sometimes. So what usually happens there?
So in reality, weather is a forecast.
Yes.
So it is wanting us to tell you about the future. Since none of us have that capability, that means in this case that when you do see your forecast, there is some uncertainty around it. So, having complete uncertainty is really not helpful to you. But as we improve these technologies, reducing that range of error for you, is it going to rain, when is it going to rain, is what really matters and what we're driving towards. I would say from an AI perspective, there were originally traditional methods for weather and climate modeling. And now we can bring in AI tools using some of these sophisticated data sets from radar, from weather stations to be able to do better and have improved weather forecasts. And that, is essential for Africa because we have so much reliance on rain-fed agriculture, for example. And that's, something that you and I need is to be able to feed ourselves, our community, and each other. So weather, like you were saying, has a number of downstream impacts, and now with AI tools, it's improving significantly.
Right. And now, still on weather, when you look at the rain that we've been experiencing this week, going forward, could there be a way in which a certain tool can be added in order for it to notify people and tell people, okay, the amount of rain that is going to be pouring maybe in the coming days is going to be in excess.
Right.
Of course, because you've spoken about forecast and
yes.
we can't know, but is there a tool? Because AI needs to, it somehow behaves like a person would behave. So is there a tool in AI that can be added onto the weather forecasting that can really improve how weather is forecasted going forward?
Yeah, so, as you were speaking about floods, and I'll talk a little bit about some of our flood forecasting tools, is when you think about weather predictions we have all over the world, as I said, they are, they have various levels of uncertainty. Mm-hmm. In Africa, unfortunately, we have very few observations, so satellites or points of data to predict the weather. Mm-hmm. So what's important for us to address that we see now, to get to something like you mentioned, where you want to do weather nowcasting, so within the next 24 hours, what does the weather look like? We need to start to innovate around how we're going to address that data gap. And that's something that we are doing as a part of our Africa team. And this is important as well as it's an input to many other sectors. And in complement, I do want to talk a little bit about our flood forecasting tool, because it's equally related to the conditions we're seeing now. And that one, again, launched, available online in over 80 countries. And so that now bringing AI to this sector, to the hydrologic modeling sector,
yes,
has now been a great breakthrough to show that AI methods can actually be used to do this forecasting up to 7 days in advance.
All right.